Yeah, welcome back. Cricket starts off our discussion. Now, Cricket West Indies, in partnership with the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, have launched the inaugural West Indies T20 Breakout League for players under 30 years old with limited professional experience. The tournament, designed to showcase the region's best emerging talents, will feature 6 teams: Barbados Pelicans, Guyana Rainforest Rangers, Jamaica Titans, Leeward Islands Thunder, Trinidad and Tobago Legions, and the Windward Islands Infernos. Yeah, the tournament will run from April 25 to May 10, with all games to be played at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's have a look at the protected players for each team. 7 protected players for each team, by the way, starting with the Barbados Pelicans: Lanika Boucher, Kadeem Alain, Joshua Bishop, Naeem Young, Shakir Paris, Kevin Wickham, and Zishan Matara. For the Guyana Rainforest Rangers, Neil Smith, Kemal Savory, Ronaldo Ali Mohammed, who's been having a fine 4-day season so far, Kevin Sinclair, Ashmead Ned, Kevlin Anderson, another one firing in the 4-day championship, and Riyad Latif. For the Jamaica Titans, Deethmar Anderson, Leroy Long, Romo Lewis, Javor Royal, Kurt McKenzie, Jordan Johnson, and Tamari Redwood. For the Thunder, Jeremiah Louis, Casey Carty, Kofi James, Kareem Gore, Mikhail Louis, Joel Andrew, and Micah McKenzie. And for the Trinidad and Tobago Legions, Camille Paran, Amir Django, Jid Gouli, Christian Thurton, Navin Bidasi, Mikel Govia, and Joshua James. And the Windward Islands Infernos, Daryl Cyrus, Shadrach Descartes, Shamar Springer, Alec Athanase, Dylan Douglas, Teddy Bishop, and Akeem Auguste. Here to tell us more about this initiative is Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket, Miles Bascom. Miles, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. As usual, it is a pleasure to have you on. How do we find you today, sir?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm very excited about the new Breakout League, and good evening to you guys. I almost got ahead of myself, and good evening to your viewers as well.
Yeah, I want to start exactly there at the top and with the name of the tournament, because it struck me when I saw Breakout League, and for a second I was thinking breakaway, but yeah, not breakaway, breakout. Explain the concept behind the name of this tournament.
I mean, it basically comes from breakout talent, right? And that is pretty much what we're looking for. We're looking for those hidden gems, those guys who have just been waiting for that opportunity to have a platform where they can really express themselves and show, the ability that they have. We do expect that it would still need some refining to get into CPL, to get into a West Indies team. But we thought that it was important to create this platform for our emergent players.
Yeah, completely understand. And excuse me for jumping to the remuneration so quickly in the discussion, but I know one of the questions a lot of individuals will be asking. We know that for the CPL, for 4-day cricket, for 50-over cricket, there is quality compensation for the players, and based on the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the West Indies Players Association last year, that takes care of that for most of these events. Is this tournament covered under that MOU, and how well should players expected to be compensated from participating in this tournament?
Well, it's not covered explicitly in the MOU, but as with most documents, there is a spirit, behind the ink on the paper. And we have had discussions with WEPA, who are quite satisfied with the remuneration being offered. And suffice to say that it is in keeping with what is offered at our regional 50-over tournament.
Yeah. Will you be announcing any of those details anytime soon?
Oh, definitely. All of the information will right now we are drip feeding a little bit, but that is all part of building up the excitement. But all of the information will come to the fore in due course.
I feel as if you've been drip feeding us for a few months now, because I remember the last conversation we had on this show. You gave us just a little bit of what we can expect for this tournament. And one of the things I do remember from that conversation was that the CWI was still in the process of trying to figure out the details of who would qualify to play, who would be eligible to play. It seems as if you've come a long way in finalizing that. You have settled with players under 30 years of age. I also noticed that there was a specification in terms of the protected players that a leg spinner must be among the protected players for each team. So speak to us about some of those guidelines and the difficulties in arriving at a final framework for player eligibility for this tournament.
There were extensive discussions, and you could appreciate there are many factors that needed to be considered. Definitely, the leg spinner aspect of it was one of the easier ones. We know what the impact of a quality leg spinner in an international white ball squad is. So we definitely have to be intentional about providing opportunities to develop leg spinners in our tournaments. So that was the easier one. In terms of the age and experience, you mentioned under 30. It's a little bit more detailed than that. You are allowed a maximum of 3 players who are between the ages of 27 to 29, and then everyone else has to be under the age of 27. So while it speaks to emerging players, and usually the age that people associate with emerging players is probably that 19 to 23 type of age group. But we are cognizant that the turnaround in T20 cricket, there's a World Cup every 2 years. So players who are 25 and 26, 27, within a very short space of time can become viable for a World Cup. And we are cognizant as well that, quite a few players may have had some experience at CPL, whether it be as emerging players, and maybe even a few international matches. But in a lot of cases, they still require that platform that they are able to really hone their craft and have a second bite at that franchise, CPL franchise, or a West Indies international team. So we felt that sub 27, anything under 27, all of the players in that age range are still very much viable. We expect that the talented 19 to 23-year-olds, as we have seen, they would force their way into those squads as well.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of discussion, but I think we are at a comfortable place.
Yeah, and Miles, what I noticed about the criteria, because you spoke about how specific it is, I want to also ask the point about you must have played less than 40 List A T20s, and then you must have played less than 10 T20 internationals. So the way how specific this criteria is, it begs me to ask the question, is Cricket West Indies looking for somebody specific to fill a specific role?
Well, we took a long time in thinking about how to go about it. And we recognize, for example, we have a rule that CP and CPL emerging players have to be named in your squad. And we recognize that because it is a competition that, every franchise is trying to win, you have players who might have been named in a squad and accumulating List A T20 matches without really having that opportunity to discharge their skills. So hence the reason we went up in terms of 40 List A T20 matches. And, some guys may have had opportunities to go to various leagues and start to accumulate a number of List A T20 matches without really, being able to cement themselves as an established T20 player. And similarly, you have players who may have gotten into a West Indies team, had a few international matches, and probably it was at that level it became clear that they still needed to do some refining of their skill sets, and this gives them an opportunity to do that at that level, at the breakout T20 level, and then work their way back into CPL franchises and eventually West Indies teams.
Yeah, this question is a two-part question. I want you to talk to me a bit about the format of the competition and then that decision to host this competition, the first time we're having this competition in Trinidad and Tobago at the Brand Lara Cricket Academy.
In terms of the format, it's a round robin, so 6 teams, every team plays all of the others, and then of the top 3, the team that tops the league stage goes directly to the final, and the second and third team play off for the second spot in the final. So it gives a total of 17 matches. So every team is guaranteed a minimum of 5 matches. In terms of playing it in Trinidad, generally we have had tremendous support from the government of Trinidad. The Brand Lara facility is world class, and it just, because of the timeline that we had to get this one off the ground, it was an easy fit. The logistics in Trinidad work. We can find hotels that will host all of the teams comfortably at reasonable rates. Again, tremendous support from Sport Titi and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and they made it very easy to choose Trinidad as the host for this inaugural tournament. But the plan is definitely to move the breakout T20 around for the sake of the fans, so they can get to see some of these emerging players express themselves, and of course for the sake of the players whose resilience we can build through playing in varying conditions.
Yeah, Miles, as we discuss the advent of this tournament, are we any closer to qualification for a Caribbean team for the Los Angeles Olympics 2028, when cricket will be played in the T20 format?
Discussions are ongoing in that regard. There is a committee a subcommittee of the board that has been set up to ensure that all of the countries of the region are aware of what that potential pathway to the World Cup, to the Olympics would look like. But I can't give you much more than that. I can tell you for sure that it's on the front burner, and we are looking at the possibility of multiple avenues to the Olympics.
So you're not at this stage prepared to conclusively say that this tournament will be a qualifier for the Olympics?
Well, I could conclusively say that this tournament will not be.
Will not be.
Because it is franchise-based one, so it is not based necessarily strictly by territory. One of the stipulations in terms of players, drafting players, is that you must draft 2 overseas-based players, and overseas in the sense of regional overseas and not international players. So the teams are not strictly territory-based, and then of course for the Windwards and the Leeward Islands-based franchises, they are not country-based. So it's not possible for us to use this tournament to determine who goes on to the Olympics.
Yeah, fair enough. We're fast running out of time, Miles, but a couple of quick ones. One, you did mention the requirement of having emerging players in CPL franchises. With this tournament now in place, will that stipulation remain in place for CPL franchises?
Well, we are in discussions with CPL to ensure that those stipulations align better with this tournament, so that the players who we will ask the franchises to consider will be players coming out of this tournament, and you will hear more about that in the coming days.
Yeah, and are you in a position to sort of quantify the type of support that you are getting from CPL for this tournament?
Well, I can tell you that we will have tremendous support. There is some financial contributions, but definitely in terms of logistical support with managing the commercial side of the tournament, which is something that we want to develop as well. And of course, they have quite a successful formula. So definitely those areas we are going to lean on them heavily.
Yeah, Miles Bascom, as usual, thank you very much for joining us on the SportsMax Zone. A pleasure as always. You're always as candid as you're in a position to be, and we appreciate the information that you were able to give us today, and we certainly look forward to more in the future, and we look forward to this tournament as well. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Miles Bascom there, Director of Cricket at Cricket West Indies, Lance.
Yeah, I gather he was under some pressure on yesterday's Mason and Guest show in Voice of Barbados regarding the appointment of Dr. Bennett, the Jamaica Cricket Association president, as Chief Medical Officer of the Cricket West Indies, because there was precedence that an employee of Cricket West Indies should not be a director. 10 years ago, Joel Garner gave up his spot as a director of the board because he was manager of the West Indies team, because the constitution did not allow for a director to be employed. So I gather that Mr. Bascom was under some pressure yesterday. I would suspect, though, that Dr. Shallow is best equipped to address that, because
I agree.
Yeah, because which is why I didn't say anything.
Did he end not out?
I think he did.
Good one, team.
Yeah, but it is an issue that has to be addressed, because maybe the constitution has changed and no one told us.
Yeah.
But it was in the constitution that an employee of Cricket West Indies can't be a director.
Yeah.
And right now,
or
Dr.
a director
Bennett
can't be an employee.
Yes, and right now Dr. Bennett is a director, and he is now employed as the Chief Medical Officer. So we'll talk to Mr. Shallow about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, break time.